People genuinely thought that Zootopia was going to replace Avatar at California Adventure. If there's one thing you should know about the Walt Disney Company, it's that they're never wrong. You are the one who's wrong, not them. Because if you think this company listens to guest feedback, then Tiana's Bayou Adventure would have never happened. Because like, obviously that originated from a guest-facing petition, but as soon as Tiana's Bayou Adventure was announced to replace Splash Mountain, a petition with like 3 or 4 times as many signatures was created to keep Splash Mountain. And did the Disney company listen to that? No, absolutely they did not. So when all of you started complaining about Avatar coming to California Adventure, there seemed to be a genuine belief that it wasn't actually going to happen and it was going to be replaced by Zootopia. And as far as I'm concerned, like that rumor spread from nothing, just pure delusion, which is absolutely hilarious. The only sites that reported this are unbelievably unreliable, like Inside the Magic, which is an absolute clown show. And then this one Instagram profile, Park Trend News, it kept popping up on my feed. I swear they reposted this graphic like once a month. And every time the comments are like, oh my gosh, yes, please give us Zootopia and DCA. But no, this was never gonna happen. I'm sorry if you genuinely believe this, but Avatar is still on track to be built at California Adventure. It still seems to be years and years away, which is kind of upsetting, especially from my perspective as one of the 4 people who's actually looking forward to this attraction. But at D23 2026, Disney unveiled a model, which looks very small, especially compared to some of the concept art that they released a few years ago. Like those were massive in scale, and it doesn't look like the final attraction is going to be anywhere on that level. But I'm still really excited. The model makes a point to show that the monorail is going to be on the outside of Avatar. It doesn't look like it's going to cut through it, which I really appreciate. But I think that also means that space is going to be very, very limited. I know some people have speculated that the land is actually going to be facing Harbor Boulevard instead of facing the park in the same way that Monsters Inc. Mike and Sully to the Rescue is, which like that could be the case, but I'm still anticipating that it's going to have the exact same orientation as Monsters Inc., just pushed further back so that there could be like a little Pandora courtyard and then the massive show building. I'm still a little worried that the backside of Pandora at California Adventure is going to be very, very ugly, and it's going to be in direct view of the guests crossing Harbor Boulevard from the new Eastern Gateway project, which just started like a few weeks ago. Like that's going to be the big new main entrance to the Disneyland Resort, and if you have to walk by the backside of Pandora, it's not going to be a great first impression. So that is still a concern for me, but I'm still very, very excited that this is actually happening. They also displayed a model of the ride vehicle, and surprise, surprise, it's literally just like Pirates at Shanghai. It's a massive boat, so this ride should be an absolute people eater, which in my opinion, DCA really needs an attraction like that. So I am very, very, very excited for the Avatar attraction coming to California Adventure. I just wish that they would put a timeline on it. I seem to remember a few years ago that they announced that the Avengers attractions, that Coco and Avatar would open within a 5-year window, but I guess that's not the case. So I don't know if I misremembered that or if Disney just erased it from the internet, because I can't pull up any receipts. But through the rest of this video, we're going to be deep diving into everything that was announced at the parks panel for D23 2026. Although the model for Avatar was displayed, it was not mentioned during the parks panel, which is disappointing, but it's still obviously in development. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we're going to keep things going with more news regarding the Disneyland Resort, because the original World of Color is finally returning to California Adventure in February 2027. I am very, very excited for that. The original World of Color was easily the best version of World of Color, like it's not even close. It's funny that Neil Patrick Harris announced that because he obviously starred in World of Color Celebrate, which might be the worst version of World of Color, so that's very amusing to me. Disney also announced that Remember Dreams Come True will be returning to the Disneyland Resort in 2027, also in February, which is really cool. That's just around the corner. I am gonna miss Wondrous Journeys. That is my favorite Disneyland fireworks show, but Remember Dreams Come True is so nostalgic, and it's probably my second favorite, so I'm really, really excited. They announced that they're updating the projections for Remember Dreams Come True, and they're They're making small changes. If I had to guess, I'd imagine that they're going to remove the Splash Mountain sequence from Remember Dreams Come True, which is kind of a bummer as someone who loves Splash Mountain, but it is what it is. They also said that they're changing World of Color a little bit. I'm a little nervous about that because World of Color, as I said, is a fantastic nighttime show, so hopefully the changes aren't too drastic, but we'll see. One other piece of information for Disneyland Resort Entertainment is that Magic Happens is returning in summer of 2027. I have personal beef with that show, so I'm not too happy about it. I don't like parades at all. I think they're not very entertaining and they make navigating the park a complete headache, but I know a lot of people do, so whatever. I also find it strange that the Remember Dreams Come True fireworks are returning in February and not January, because the holiday fireworks obviously end in January, so like what's gonna play for the second half of January? Like, are we gonna get 2 weeks of Mickey's Mixed Magic? Which could be pretty interesting, I guess. But going back to DCA, it was announced that the Avengers attractions will be opening in 2028, and I'm not gonna lie, this is probably one of the most disappointing announcements from the parks panel. From the construction progress, I was hoping that Avengers Infinity Defense and Stark Flight Lab would be opening in 2027, but I guess they're not going to be ready, which is kind of a shame. 2028 still feels very far away. Hopefully it'll be early 2028, but we'll see. And I have to assume that Coco is going to be 2029. They're making pretty good progress on that attraction, and they announced that Coco 2 will be debuting in 2029, so I have to imagine that though the attraction and the movie will go hand in hand, like Guardians Volume 2 did for Guardians Mission Breakout, how Incredibles 2 did for the Incredicoaster, all that jazz. But I'm excited for both Avengers Infinity Defense and the Coco attraction. We did not get a name for the Coco attraction, which is a little disappointing because they named a few other attractions that are coming, including the new Space Mountain coming to Tokyo, which is going to be titled Space Mountain Earthrise. That seems really, really cool. They had a model of the ride vehicle on display as well. But another big announcement for Space Mountain is happening for Disneyland Paris, because they are finally getting rid of Hyperspace Mountain and they are bringing back their original Space Mountain ride experience, which is so unbelievably cool. I'm beyond excited for Disneyland Paris. I hate Hyperspace Mountain so much, and I did get to experience that roller coaster as Hyperspace Mountain, but I would love to go back to experience it as it was intended, because the way that it has been existing right now with the clashing Star Wars and Jules Verne theming is just bad, in my opinion. So I'm glad that they're getting rid of the Star Wars stuff. Disneyland Paris is also confirmed to get the first ever Scar animatronic in the upcoming Lion King attraction going to Disney Adventure World. So that's really, really cool. The ride isn't even open yet, and I can already tell that it's going to demolish Tiana's Bayou Adventure. It's going to be way, way better. So that's really, really awesome. But the final pieces of news regarding international Disney parks are related to Marvel attractions. We got small updates and new concept art for the Spider-Man coaster coming to Shanghai Disneyland, and the Avengers Drop Tower coming to Hong Kong Disney. That is also very, very exciting. Well, let's go through some of the news for Walt Disney World. Right off the bat, Spaceship Earth is finally getting the refresh that they promised to us years and years ago. They seem to be shifting the focus of the attraction from the history of communication to a broader vision of human connection. So I'm not sure how that's gonna go, but I hope it works out. As I've mentioned in my previous videos, Spaceship Earth is one of my favorite attractions at Walt Disney World, so I'm excited to see that it's getting some love, and I really, really hope that they change the finale of the attraction so you're not looking at a screen the whole time, that when you're descending to Earth, and maybe they'll reinstate some physical set pieces, because that would be awesome. But the biggest and arguably most exciting announcement from this parks panel is that Expedition Everest is finally getting the Yeti back. I am so unbelievably excited. I'm so happy. This might become Disney's best animatronic. It's going to be an absolute highlight of the ride experience. I know this is going to be a massive investment, and they did not give us a time frame, which is kind of annoying. They didn't give us a time frame for a lot of these announcements because Disney always takes forever. It's so annoying how slow this company is at building stuff. But it's my understanding that Expedition Everest will be closed for 6 months to a year. So I'd imagine that the Tropical Americas will have to open first before Expedition Everest goes down. And the big final announcement for Walt Disney World was actually the return of Dreamland Dream Finder and a refresh to Journey into Imagination with Figment at Epcot. That is very, very exciting. I'm not the biggest fan of that attraction, and I'm very happy that Disney is going to breathe new life into it. If you watch my video that I posted a while ago about the top 10 Walt Disney World refreshes that I would like to see, Spaceship Earth, Expedition Everest, and Journey into Imagination were all on that video. And if you throw in Frozen, that ride recently replaced the screen face animatronics with real practical articulating animatronics, and already 40% of the attractions on that video are confirmed to be getting an update, which is so exciting. Hopefully Walt Disney World keeps that ball rolling, because there are definitely a handful of other attractions I would like to see get improvements. My video is aging pretty well, and I'm proud about that. Heading back to Animal Kingdom, the Indiana Jones retheme of Dinosaur got a name. It's going to be called Indiana Jones and the Myth of the Jade Serpent. That is a very wordy name, but honestly, it kind of gets a pass because that's just how Indiana Jones attractions are. I think eventually it's going to be shortened to Indiana Jones Adventure, the same way that ours is over here in California, because I think the official name for the attraction at Disneyland is Indiana Jones and the Temple of the Forbidden Eye, but nobody calls it that. We all call it Indiana Jones, Indy, or Indiana Jones Adventure. So maybe it'll be Indiana Jones and the Myth of the Jade Serpent for a few years, but I would be very shocked if they didn't shorten it to Indiana Jones Adventure. The Encanto attraction also got a name. This one is less good in my opinion. It is Antonio's Fiesta de Encanto. So like, I'm not gonna lie, I've only seen Encanto once and I barely remember Antonio. I wonder how much screen time he has. It's probably like 3 minutes. He is also the animal connection, and obviously this is Animal Kingdom. His power is communicating with animals, so it makes sense that he is the focus of the attraction, but I think it's so funny that a random character from Encanto gets to have his name in the title of the attraction. Like, that's just kind of amusing, but I do understand why it is the case. Going over to Magic Kingdom, both of the attractions coming to the Cars expansion of Frontierland were announced. The main e-ticket is going to be called Cars Ridge Run Rally, and I'm not going to lie, that's a pretty good name, aside from the fact that it's called Cars at the beginning. Like, Radiator Springs Racers isn't called Cars Radiator Springs Racers, it's just called Radiator Springs Racers, so I don't understand why they can't call this ride Ridge Run Rally, but nope, they need Cars in front of it. It's just kind of annoying. The attraction looks fun. Apparently it's going to be very bouncy, more so in the second half of the attraction, so I'm not sure if it's going to feel like Indiana Jones slash dinosaur slash Myth of the Jade Serpent, but who's to say? I'm pretty intrigued by this ride experience. And the other attraction, which we knew nothing about before this panel, or before D23, is going to be called Miss Fritter's Daredevil Spin-Along, which is another very wordy name. There's going to be a massive animatronic of Miss Fritter, which is going to be school bus size, which is really, really cool. The model that they had on display at D23 made this attraction look a lot like Mater's Junkyard Jamboree, except it's not going to have like the tractor and the trailer. It's just going to have a car. I'm really wondering if it's going to be like the old ladybug spinner that DCA used to have in Bugs Land, because those teacups were also on a turntable, and it looks like this attraction is going to utilize turntables as well. So it feels like it's going to be a less dynamic version of Mater's Junkyard Jamboree, which isn't great because obviously Walt Disney World has a clone of that attraction at Hollywood Studios with alien swirling saucers, but it is what it is. I think the school bus animatronic is going to be the best part of this attraction. Aside from Avengers opening in 2028, another disappointing announcement that we got is that Monstropolis is going to open before the roller coaster is ready, which is kind of disappointing. I feel like Star Wars Galaxy's Edge got a lot of hate because that land opened before Rise of the Resistance was ready. I hope Monstropolis doesn't get the same treatment from the internet. That being said, the Monsters Inc. fandom is nowhere near as toxic as the Star Wars fandom, so I don't think it'll be as big of an issue, but it's still kind of annoying that they're not going to have the roller coaster ready on time to open with the rest of the land. But they gave us more details, like the elevator lift at the beginning of the attraction will take you 40 feet in the air, and it's going to take 4 seconds allegedly, which seems really fast. I don't know. That'll be interesting, but I feel like the energy in the station for that attraction is going to be absolutely electric. So I'm very excited for the roller coaster. I'm just annoyed that it's not opening with the rest of the land. But getting getting back into the good news, we're gonna head back to Magic Kingdom for Villains Land, which we got confirmation that Villains Land will be the official name of Villains Land. And I think that's a really good idea. Keep it simple, stupid. It still bothers me that Star Wars Land isn't Star Wars Land at Disneyland. It's Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, and I feel like Disney learned their lesson. They're keeping it simple, especially with the Castle Park, because they pointed out that every other land at Magic Kingdom has the word land in it, except that's incorrect because Main Street USA exists, but whatever. And I kind of wish that they kept that mentality back in 2019 with Disneyland, because obviously Disneyland also has a lot of lands called land, so they should have called Galaxy's Edge Star Wars Land, in my opinion, but whatever. Something interesting about Villains Land is that they highlighted 3 major villains during the panel, and Dr. Facilier was literally front and center, which absolutely blows my mind because I was under the impression that they did not include him in Tiana's Bayou Adventure because cultural sensitivity and like depiction of voodoo. When it's time to open Villains Land, he's literally front and center. I find that really frustrating because Tiana's Bayou Adventure really could have used Dr. Facilier to enhance the story of that attraction, because as it stands today, in my opinion, it's very, very weak. I'll try to stop ragging on Tiana's Bayou Adventure. That is very frustrating to me. But getting back to the announcements, we got 2 confirmed attractions coming to Villains Land. The first is a thrilling coaster experience encountering Maleficent. That is a direct quote. So Disney is claiming that the Maleficent roller coaster is going to be thrilling. Now, does that mean Velocicoaster thrilling? Does that mean Incredicoaster with one inversion? I don't know. But another direct quote is, this coaster is going to have elements we have never attempted on a Disney coaster. Now, when they say elements, I don't know if they mean theming elements or if they mean coaster elements like a zero-G stall, like a barrel roll. I don't know. So Magic Kingdom might be getting a thrill coaster, which would be absolutely incredible, especially if it's themed to Maleficent. This might be Disney's Velocicoaster, but I don't want to get my hopes up too high because they worded these comments in a way that could be easily walked back, in my opinion. We also got confirmation that the second attraction is going to be a dynamic dark ride hosted by the Magic Mirror. It's going to include a mirror realm, which seems really, really cool. They also promised us large physical set pieces, which is very exciting. There's no way that they can walk that back, so I'm expecting large physical set pieces from this attraction. In the concept art that they released, it appears to be another boat ride, so I don't know. I feel like Disney's building a lot of boat rides right now, and I'm kind of sad that they abandoned the trackless ride system so quickly, because I feel like this ride could have been a trackless ride for Magic Kingdom, but oh well. But this dynamic dark ride hosted by the Magic Mirror combined with the Maleficent roller coaster, that's amazing. Those 2 attractions are unbelievably exciting. Easily going to be some of the best attractions in all of Walt Disney World, maybe even the world. We'll see. But this absolutely destroys the ride lineup that leaked like a few months ago. Like the pull the lever Kronk roller coaster isn't happening. I think there was like an Ursula boat ride that was rumored. The 2 ideas that they're going with seem much more exciting than those, in my opinion. But we're wrapping things up in this video with the biggest piece of news that they announced. Unfortunately, they did not give us any details, but Disneyland's Tomorrowland is finally getting a refresh. They released one graphic, and I'm gonna overanalyze this graphic. The only things depicted in this new Tomorrowland are the monorail and Space Mountain. So could this mean that those are the only 2 things staying? I don't know. I don't even know if they know. But in my perfect world, that would be the case. So I'm hoping that's true. They have a big quote on the graphic that says yesterday's tomorrow today. So it looks like they're really going to be leaning into retrofuturism. Could be fun. I just really, really want to know the scale of this refresh. And of course, they did not give us a timeline either, which is disappointing. A report came out today that the new Tomorrowland is going to be prioritized over Avatar, which is kind of insane because they had a model for Avatar, and Avatar has been in the works for far longer, at least in the public eye. We'll see. Avengers was announced 6 years ago, and it is still 2 years away. So if that 8-year window applies to Tomorrowland, it won't be opening till 2034. Oh my god. But at the panel, they they did say that Tomorrowland will include new attractions plural, and it's gonna have a lot of open spaces to dream about the future, which kind of reminds me about Toontown. I feel like they really opened up that land when they refreshed it, and obviously Toontown's refresh is one of the best things Disneyland has done in a long time, so hopefully Tomorrowland gets the same treatment. This is really, really exciting. I think the People Mover is an absolute shoe-in. I feel like everyone has been demanding it for years, and I feel like there's absolutely no way that they're gonna refresh Tomorrowland and not bring back the People Mover. I would be absolutely shocked if they didn't. I would also like to see the return of Carousel of Progress, but I'm not sure if that'll be the case. I feel like that is much more unlikely than the return of the People Mover. I'm also wondering if they're gonna bring in IP to Tomorrowland, because Disney loves IP. I can't tell you the last time they built an attraction that isn't themed to an IP, but I think some potential options could be Wall-E or Wreck-It Ralph, maybe Tron, but I feel like Tron's not going to happen because that roller coaster is huge, and they did say that there's going to be a lot of open spaces in this new Tomorrowland. So again, if you drop Tron into the new Tomorrowland, you're not going to really have enough space for open spaces, so I would be very shocked if we're getting Tron. But this is really going to help balance Disneyland parks so much, because right now I feel like Disneyland is very heavy on the left side and very light on the right. Like, all of the best rides in the park are on the left side of the park. Really the only two major draws on the right are Space Mountain and Matterhorn, maybe Star Tours, depending upon who you ask. So if they bring in new attractions that are e-tickets, it'll really help disperse the crowds within Disneyland and bring more people over to the right hand side of the park, especially as Disneyland Forward begins. The park is going to be even more left leaning, which is going to be funny. But I am very excited for the new Tomorrowland, and I hope we get more details soon. So that is a wrap on everything they announced. I do want to cover two things that they did not announce, one of which I'm very happy about, the other I am very angry about. They did not mention Walt Disney World Space Mountain, even though a rumor broke a couple weeks ago that they were going to completely refurbish Walt Disney World Space Mountain. I looked back into it, and very similar to the Zootopia stuff at California Adventure, I don't think it ever had a credible source, but for whatever reason the rumor just took on like wildfire. But as of now, Walt Disney World Space Mountain is staying the same, which I am very grateful for as a roller coaster nerd, as a roller coaster history nerd, and as someone who loves that attraction. It's one of my favorites at Magic Kingdom. Despite 3 announcements for entertainment at Disneyland, did not announce an improvement to Fantasmic, and there was no return of the dragon, which is really disappointing, especially because there was a rumor like 2 years ago that they were building a new dragon. So I don't know if that project got scrapped. I don't know if it's ever gonna happen. I don't think that it's confirmed that it's never gonna happen. It's just annoying that it's taking so long, because Fantasmic is in shambles right now, and part of that is because the dragon is not returning. But I'm still gonna hold out hope. I just find it very frustrating that they did not give us an update or anything. If you told me before the panel began that they were fixing one large-scale animatronic, I would have bet my entire house that it would have been the Fantasmic Dragon at Disneyland, but nope, it's gonna be Disco Yeti at Expedition Everest. So that's kind of amusing, but for me it's frustrating, as I've reiterated. So those are my opinions and perspectives on the D23 2026 Parks panel. Do you agree with everything I said? Do you disagree? Please let me know down in the comments below. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you all later.